Good morning. I'm Baby James B. Portonato from B3B, and today I'm going to show the different classification of musical instrument. Number 1. Idiopones. Idiopones are musical instrument in which a vibrating solid materials in use to be produced sound. Examples: stone, wood, and metal. Idiophones are differentiated according to the method used to make it vibrate. Number 1. Concussion. A pair of similar instruments are struck together or struck against each other to create sounds, such as cymbals and castanets. Number 2. Friction. Instruments that produce sound when rubbed. Number 3. Percussion. Musical instrument that produce sound by striking or using a striker, such as xylophones, triangle, bells, gongs, and steel drum. 4. Flacket. Also known as lingophones. These are musical instruments that need to be plucked to create sound, such as jaw harm, in which the player plucks the tongue of the instrument. 5. Scrub. Instruments that are scrubbed to produce sound. Examples: cog rattles and washboard. Number 6. Shaken. Musical instruments that need to be shaken to create sound, such as maracas, thought to have been invented by native Indians of Puerto Rico. 7. Stamping. Instruments that produce sound when stamped on hand surface, such as the shoes used by tap dancers or iris gloves. Number 8. Stamp. When sound is produced by the material itself that's being stamped. Number 2. Membranophones. Membranophones are musical instruments that use vibrating stretched membranes or skin to produce sound. Membranophones are classified according to the shape of the instrument. Number 1. Kettle drums. Also known as vessel drums, these are rounded at the bottom and may be tunable or non-tunable. The vibrating membranes is either lace, nailed, glued to the body, and the player uses his hands, a beater, or both to strike it. Number 2. Tubular drums are further classified into shapes including the barrel, cylindrical, conical, double conical, goblet, hourglass, and shallow. Tubular drums may either to tunable and non-tunable, like the kettle drums. Tubular drums may be played by using both the hands or a striker, and the vibrating membrane is either laced, nailed, or glued to the body. Number 3. Friction drums. Instead of striking, the stretched membrane vibrates when there is friction across the membrane. These are non-tunable, and the player uses a cord or stick to create sound. Number 4. Merletones. Unlike other musical instruments to the membranophones, merletones are not drums. The membranes produce sound with the vibration of player, voice, or instrument. Merletones are non-tunable, and good example of this type is kazoo. Number 3. Chordophones. Chordophones produce sound by means of stretched vibrating string. When a string vibrates, the resonator picks up the vibration and amplifies it, giving it a more amplifying sound. There are 5 basic types based on the string relationship with the resonator. Number 1. Musical bows. May or may not have resonator. The strings are attached and stretched over a wooden bow. Number 2. Harps. The strings are parallel to the soundboard. Harps are flacked or stamped. Number 3. Lyres. The string run to a crossbar holding it away from the resonator. Lyres may either be bowed or flacked. Number 4. Lutes. These instruments have necks The strings are stretched across a resonator and travel up the neck. Lutes may be bowed up. Number 5. Cedars. These have a board but no necks. Strings are stretched from one end of the board to the another end. Cedars may be plucked or stuck. Chordophones also have subcategories depending on how the strings are played. Example of chordophones played by bowing: double bass, violin, and viola. Example of chordophones that played by plucking: banjo, guitar, harp, mandolin, ukulele. Example of chordophones that are struck: piano, dulcimer, and clavichord. Number 4. Aerophones. Aerophones produce sound by the vibrating column of air. These are commonly known as wind instruments and therefore basic types. Number 1. Brush winds, made of metal, particularly brush. These instruments create sound through the vibration of the player's lip on the mouthpiece. The air that passes through the player's lips goes to the air column of the instrument and thus creates sounds. Example: trombone, tuba, and trumpet. Number 2. Woodwinds. These instruments were originally only of wood, but now other materials are used on reed instruments like the saxophone and the clarinet, and then materials is placed on the mouthpiece so that when the player blows into it, the air it pours to go a reed and sets in the vibrate. In the double reed instruments such as the bassoons and the obis, the materials placed on the opening of the mouthpiece, thus creating sound. Number 3. Pre-reed refers to wind instruments that have a freely vibrating reed and the pitch depends on the size of reed. Example: accordion. Number 4. Pre-aerophones are those in which the sound is produced by a column of air outside of the instrument itself, such as a ball roller or the whip when it's cracked. Thank you for watching.